दोस्तों नमस्कार, हेमवंती मीडिया पर आप सभी का स्वागत है। मेरा नाम है प्रीति चौहान। आज जिला सिरमौर के IIM धोलाकुआं प्रीमिसेस में आज हम आए हैं और यहाँ पर देश की जो बड़ी अग्रणी कंपनियां हैं उनके डायरेक्टर मैनेजर आज यहाँ पर आए हैं और IIM के स्टूडेंट्स को बिजनेस के रिगार्डिंग अवेयर कर रहे हैं, उन्हें स्किल सिखा रहे हैं कि आने वाले समय में किस तरीके से वो बिजनेस कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि IIM स्टूडेंट्स जो है वो उनका पैकेज बड़ी बड़ी मल्टीनेशनल कंपनीज के लिए होता है। तो आज बड़े बड़े प्रतिनिधि, बड़ी बड़ी कंपनियों के प्रतिनिधि यहाँ पर पहुंचे हैं जो कि स्टूडेंट से डिस्कशन कर रहे हैं, उन्हें टिप्स दे रहे हैं। तो यहाँ की जो खास तस्वीरें हैं वो आपको भी दिखाते हैं, तो चलिए।
Students to be here on a Sunday morning, right? The reason why I'm emphasizing on a Sunday morning is it's a Sunday. We are supposed to enjoy our weekend, but we are here, right? So what does this mean? I think the most important thing is what is it that you are trying to prioritize? You are in an enterprise, you are in a business, you're does not thrive on just having people present within the organization. It's also about delivering the right kind of output and doing the right kind of work. The purpose for which we are over there. A lot of us, employees as well as employers, are strong purpose-driven folks. Correct? So the entire debate, I kind of find it very frivolous as well. 70-hour week, 4-day week, or a 5-day week, or 90-hour week. I mean, there are weeks where people just work for 20 hours, but the impact which is created is mammoth, right? So I think let's be very, very choiceful and let's be very, very impactful and be very purpose-driven. That is what the organization's notion is as well. And that's true for any ecosystem, be it the most established ecosystem or be it the very, very new startup ecosystem. So that's my only thought on this. For me, this is not even a debate.
Yeah.
It's a choice and it's a prime objective that you are trying to accomplish.
So, a very good afternoon, everyone. I think it's already afternoon, and thanks for having us here. I'll try to, you all have shared your perspective. I'll just add on to that perspective. I think more than we talk about more working hours, it's very, very important that organizations start thinking about how we are measuring those productive hours, right? Whether anybody working for 10 hours a day, how many hours are productive is more important, because we talk a lot about working hours, we talk a lot about delivery, but how many managers are actually looking at, aligning their team with what is expected out of them and then measuring how much they deliver, because that's something which is missing. And I have worked in many organizations, I'm connected with a lot of HR and business leaders and everyone. I think what we should talk about is how manager can be productive enough to measure the productivity of their team, which is missing link here. And that I always focus upon that, it's manager, it's not organization. The culture is built by the managers in reality, and if they are able to drive the outcomes of productive hours, productivity out of their employees, I don't think this is even a matter of discussion that how many hours they should work on. So that's something which we need to focus on, organizations need to focus on, because in previous panel they also talked about that, everyone, business runs for the benefit and the revenue. I think if we are not able to deliver that, irrespective of working for 90 hours, it's useless for anyone to even think about that. So we need to think about how to measure that. That's very important.
So from what I understand is that productivity is important, and where this very optimistic ideas coming, like we should flexible model, we should focus on productivity. It doesn't matter whether you're working 90 hours, 70 hours or 50 hours. But there's also these challenges which comes with, as Mr. Arpan said, presentism, and there's also a term, buzzword that's coming up, is forced productivity, right? Where you're faking. Now the problem is that when such signaling is happening, where the expectations are coming in that you have to put in that number of work hours, problems like this, presentism or productivity arises. So from a HR perspective, like some action points, we should talk about some of the action points. Like what do a manager ideally in a workplace can do to kind of monitor? What are some of the good ways to kind of monitor it, that to prevent such issues? Because if more of the generations are trying to come up with problems like presentism, just being in the office and not putting it into hard work, then it might derail the purpose of an organization. So at that level, what do you think managers should do? We'll start with, yeah.
In an ideal environment, right? We spoke about PNL and all that in the previous panel. A manager is an HR manager. The right manager, right? He's an HR manager. He's a finance guy. He takes care of it like a business. That's how a manager is so important. People quit managers, not organization. That's how it is. A lot of new nomenclatures coming up, but that's the primary route. Because if a manager is biased, then people tend to lose out, and then the revenge quitting and all the new buzzwords keep happening, right? As a manager, I think the first stuff is, whether he has the team for the right capacity of work that he or she is doing. If the team is over capacity or under capacity, he has to add people and course correct it then and there, right? Because that's one of the areas. And two, whether people are coming there, there's a new thing, right? Work from office is happening, but people are coming there for coffee badging. They just come there and then move, buzz off after 15, 20 minutes. See, when we come here, I think all the panelists spoke about the purpose, right? The ikigai, which Japanese talk about. I think if the purpose has to be aligned both from an organization should also get invested on the people, and the people also should be aligned to it, right? And a daily task sheet or a rolling up to a weekly activity listing in terms of what are their objectives. A manager should be, if manager is clueless, then all of this tends to get into. So having the right kind of roster of all the work that is supposed to be completed and what's the outcome that is expected, having the key one-to-one skip levels and pre-shift meetings. These kind of things don't look tactical over a point of time, but believe you me, in the beginning of your career, it really galvanizes you, right? It might not be relevant for seasoned leaders. They don't need this. My manager, connects with me for, in 2 months, 3 months. Right, that's how it is. So it is, since the Gen Zs we are talking about, having the right connect with your managers and having it discussed will put a lid to all the challenges, and the work gets more, democratized.
I think one point that I just want to add here is, as managers, there is something that we have a very, very, very important lever in our hands, which happens annually or every 6 months in every organization, that is called performance management. Right? Let's have good, honest performance conversations. Let's have honest performance. Let's know what is it that our team is driving. At Beta 91, we use OKRs, right? It's a very, very popular way of looking at performance these days. Is my team really on top of their OKRs? Am I having my monthly one-on-ones with them? In my one-on-ones, am I discussing just tactical routine work, or am I also discussing what is how do I help my team member really be productive, right? Is it something that's going to, like, do they need support outside of work? As long as I'm providing them with all the resources that I can, I have every right to demand an outcome, right? But at the same time, if I'm not having an honest performance conversation, I'm leaving it to the end of the 6-month period or at the end of the 1-year period, then this is exactly what happens. Because then you want people to, you will suddenly one day have a knee-jerk reaction. Let's have people, roll up time sheets, right? We don't want to do that. But because managers don't know and are not on top of their teams, right? They're not on top of, and not literally, but metaphorically in terms of their work. Do we know what my team is really doing? Can I really say that if I have 3 members in my team, they're actually doing at least 6 hours of productivity? If that's there, then that's enough. and I mean everything else will fall in place. Let's have good, honest performance conversations. Yeah, adding on to what Neha just mentioned, I work in a complete virtual environment. For me, it's all productivity. Presentism is something that doesn't exist for me. So it's very, very important that a manager is present. He is available for the team members because as what Sir mentioned, that it's also important that we connect regularly to the team members, right? So again, it should be not the over-connect and under-connections, right? So have a weekly connect with them, just a quick ones to check on, okay, everything is going good, they need any support or not, or what kind of support they can provide to them. Also coming back to Neha's point, feedback is very, very important. Regular, those conversations are very important, but are we giving the constructive feedbacks to them? Are we also supporting them where they are lacking?